Hey guys, welcome to the Overnight Journey Season 2 vlog number 48. I'm sorry I'm a little late posting this. As I've said many times before in the videos, it has been a very busy past couple of months for me, so a little late getting this posted, but definitely want to thank everybody for all of their support. I sat down with Shelly after she shared her story and talked about her dad, and we just kind of had an impromptu, informal little discussion about suicide and losing somebody to suicide, and so I want to share that conversation with you all. So here you go. All right. So Shelly, so we just finished up doing your interview, having you share your story. Yes. So how are you feeling?
A lot better now.
Really?
I told you I was going to cry. I mean, I can't ever help not crying about it, but
that's totally
it's a sad
okay.
thing. That's part of the process, but I do feel better. It's kind of cathartic in a way, and I think the 20-year mark was a good time to do it because each year gets a little easier. So I think 20 years is like, oh,
well, I'm extremely grateful that you are allowing me to be the person that hears your story and shares your story. And I know that it's not easy to do, but no. I do think that it helps to talk about it. I do think that it helps to share your story. So I'm really appreciative that you're doing that.
Well, you're welcome. I do too. I think the more you talk about it, the easier. I think it's kind of a two-part thing. It's coping for any of us that talk about it because you've got someone you can talk to, anyone that's out there you can talk about it, but it helps to raise awareness as well that life can go on. You can make something good out of the negative of it, so it goes to show that if you can talk about it and get it out there, maybe your one little thing can help someone or 5 someone's, because that's my philosophy. I don't care how small or how big of something I do. If I've made the impact of one person in a day, no matter what it is, someone at the grocery store or a co-worker, I feel like I've done something well that day. I've made a difference.
Absolutely.
So even if it helps one person realize that they're not alone, whether that's the family and friends that are left behind or the person themselves that's struggling that realizes, hey, there is another option, that I think that's a good thing. That makes me feel good, and that helps me every day too.
Yeah, and definitely, you're absolutely right. When you talk about it, people can then relate.
Yes.
There will probably be other people that see this that can relate to your story, and maybe it helps them to feel more comfortable about sharing their story. Exactly,
because I think it's one of those things where even though it's scary because it is so taboo still, and I hate that it's so taboo because we've progressed so much even in the past 20 years, but I think it's that if you can help relate to someone, it helps other people feel more capable, that they're not alone, that they can share it without fear of retribution. Because like we said too, is that whenever you have a family member, or even if it's a close friend that does decide to take their own life, there is that stigma of, well, why didn't you catch it? You're with them every day. So what could you have done better? Well, I'm not sure that there's anything. I was just talking to a friend yesterday, and he asked me if I could do anything, if I could go back and change anything in my life, what would it be? And I said, it's going to sound weird, but I said I would actually go back to the last day I saw my dad alive. I said, I know that sounds kind of weird and all, but I said, it was a typical day, normal, but I remember having a silly argument about nothing of consequence, and I know that it didn't do anything to change his mind. It didn't make him think, well, I'm going to go along with it, but I guess I would have wanted him to know that he was loved. And I think he knew that he was loved, but it's one of those that if I could go back to any day, I think that would be it, to let him know that if this is really what you have your heart set on and you feel like there's no other way and you don't want to get help and you don't want to try to run the course, at least you know that you do have people left that even though you did something that took you away from us, we still love you and we're always going to love you. So I think it's one of those things where if that's what he was lacking, because I'll never have answers to that, but
and that's one of the hard things about suicide is that the people left behind is you're thinking about, well, what if I had done this or said this, or could you have changed it? And one of the things that I've kind of thought of is ultimately everybody does the best that they possibly can in the situation.
Exactly.
And with the knowledge that you have at the time, right? So
that's true. You do the best you can. And the thing with depression is it's a sneaky disease, because sometimes the people that seem the happiest are the ones that are suffering the worst. That's what I have found in my professional and through friendships, is that you could think you know someone and they're completely snowballing you.
Yep.
So you could think that, well, no, why would that person? They seem like they have all their stuff together, but you don't know what people are dealing with behind closed doors.
Yeah. And then the hard thing is, too, then you start looking back on things, and it's like, oh, well, maybe this was a sign, or maybe this was a sign, or maybe I should have picked up on this. But, that's a slippery slope. And again, I think it's just everybody does the best they possibly can in this situation with what they know.
Exactly.
And that's why it's so important, I feel, for people to know more about it. What are the warning signs? What are the things to look out for?
Yes.
Because then you can step in and intervene. Whereas, it's hard because I don't know, I felt like I saw signs, but at the same time it was like I didn't know what to do.
Exactly. You didn't know where to reach out. And sometimes, especially with those, if you notice the warning signs, they might deny it because they don't want, because they're ashamed. And so they're going to be like, to get on the defensive. So it's finding the right way to approach it. It's one of the whole thing about, it's not how you say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
And so you can know warning signs about how to approach the person to get them to open it up and not close up more.
Well, one of the things that I've learned after the fact is that it really doesn't matter what you say. As long as you say something, because at the end of it, you can't make it any worse.
Yes, that's true.
And so I watched a comedy special recently by a guy named Chris Gethard, and he kind of talked about that. He was like, the fact that people think they're going to make it worse is absolutely ridiculous, because it's already
worse.
The worst that person could ever feel.
So what are you going to do to make it get any further? If you're in the hole, stop digging. So what are you going to do to help? I mean, there's nothing that you can do at that point. If a decision's made, a decision's made. So you're not going to be able to make it worse, but you might be able to reverse that decision by being there. Yeah.
So I guess the moral of the story is, educate yourselves, learn the warning signs, and know what to do when you see those warning signs and step in.
Don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. That's my thing, too, is don't be afraid.
Yeah. And I want to thank Shelly for sharing her story. I know it was a really big deal for her to do that, and I can relate. It's not the easiest thing to do, but I love you, so thank you.
Love you too. Thank you.
And there you have it. Thank you again very, very much to Shelly. I love you. Thank you for sharing your story with all of us. And remember, everybody has a personal battle that they're fighting. They just may not talk about it. So love each other.